Next, we'll have the University of Michigan. We will have Coach John Beeline. Then Zach Novak, who had 11 points and 5 rebounds. Trey Burke, who had 17 points and 9 assists. And Tim Hardaway Jr., who had 19 points and 3 rebounds.
It mirrored a little bit of our game last year in the NCAA tournament where they got off to a quick start with us. We only had 9 turnovers in the game, and one was in the last second year, so we had 8 turnovers, but we had, I think I counted the first 4 times down the floor, we had a turnover. And so let them get out to it. We were chasing them the whole time. They're not a great team to chase. They really know how to control the ball, limit their turnovers, and they have their perimeter played very, very well. I'll have to watch film again to see how much of that was us and how much of that was Duke, but I assume an awful lot of it was Duke.
Ben Esses, Michigan Daily. Trey, can you just talk about what was so difficult about defending Curry and Rivers for Duke? They combined for 40 points.
Just stand on my feet, basically. They're real good players and good shooters, so Coach strived about me staying on my feet, and that's really about it.
John, could you talk about the three-pointers in the second half? Every time you guys made a run, it seemed like they'd come down
They
to
answered.
three.
I mean, it was very. We did not have a great first half. You can see by the number of points we scored, and they answered continually. And they do have a great. I mean, all 3 of those guys are 40% shooters coming in. But what happens is Rivers was so good with the ball, just creating, withdrawing to and finding people, the good patience. They made some tough shots, and then they created opportunities for walk-in threes, which were a killer.
Mike Krzyzewski talked about how they did some things that he thinks surprised you to start off with a 9-0 run. Did you see that?
Yeah, they completely shut down Tim. They wouldn't let him get the ball. They just played 4-on-4 on one side. We were trying to draw things up in the huddle until we got to halftime. We really couldn't make an adjustment on that the way we wanted to. So they did a great job, and that's what happens during the season, that people play different ways. You can't practice for everything. But I think the way our kids adjusted in the second half, offense wasn't the problem, but Duke came out with a great plan, and that's a little bit why he's got 900 some wins.
Rod, right there.
Rod Beard, Detroit News. John, you talk about this being an assessment tool to kind of see where you guys were. After the first 2 games, are you able to make any kind of concrete assessments of where you are based on these 2 games?
Yeah, I really like the way we're competing. I really, and seeing, you watch your own team, you don't know what the other people have out there. And I do like the way we're competing. I do think that we have to really be a very efficient team to beat teams that both have the size and the perimeter that this team has. Because just a putback there and there, an alley-oop dunk here and there, is not. We don't necessarily get as many of those as some others. So I like the progress. It could have, but obviously there's not a kid here who didn't want to win that. Didn't think we could have won that game if we played a little better.
Mark.
Tim, can you talk about the frustration of being taken away like that in the first half? Obviously, you've had a number of games where you've been able to get the ball and create.
I don't think there was no frustration. It was just they were doing a good job of locking us down and coming out with a great game plan. We came out at halftime and just capitalized on it, and it really helped us out throughout the entire game.
Go ahead, Nick.
Jim, what did you guys do differently to get yourself open in the second half? What changed?
Just Coach Beeline drew up some things on the board, and we just went out there and executed what he wanted us to do, and it freed me up and it freed a lot of other guys on our team up, and it helped us score the ball.
Go ahead, Ben.
Ben Esses again. You guys obviously have this for Zach. You guys have another game coming up tomorrow. So how do you move on from such a disappointing loss to be ready for another one tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll go back. We'll watch this film relatively quickly, just so we can learn things to just make Michigan basketball better. And then, it's a quick turnaround. There's a reason everyone's saying, this is one of the best fields that's ever been in this tournament. Right now, our focus has got to be, we got a chance to get third here, and that's really just all we can focus on.
Rod.
John, talk about the way that Trey kind of stepped up in that first half and took on that scoring load and then hit a couple of big shots in the second half. As much as Tim played well in the second half and Zach with some scoring that you needed, it was Trey that those 8 assists and also the scoring that really kept you guys in the game too.
It's great to have him where he's starting to read screens better, the ball screen, and they play different ways off our 5-man, and that's something he has to still adjust to, but he was able to just get, I don't know what he had at half, but they were really what we call locking the rails on us and saying, you're going to play a 2-on-2 game. It's going to be, and ever getting in foul trouble really hurt us from spacing. So they played a certain way where Jordan was going to be his ball screen and he had to make things happen. And he's learning every day on that, and he's a tough kid. He's mentally tough.
Mark?
John, is there some encouragement in the fact that you guys scored 50 points in the second half? I mean, you haven't had a half like that all season, and you struggled offensively.
And we scored 40-something against Wayne State. Is that
I didn't say
in a whole game. Yeah, I mean, it takes time to everybody, especially when you have a brand new quarterback. It takes time to get things going and understand how these things work in a game. And we're throwing a lot at this young man the farthest to my left. And gradually he's absorbing as much as he can, but it takes time. So it is encouraging that we're getting closer. And hopefully all year we'll just make these little mini steps in everyone's understanding of how to score points and then how to defend.
Daniel?
Daniel Wasserman again. Trey, in back-to-back days, you've gone up against some of the best point guards in the country. Do you feel, how does this prepare you for Big Ten season?
It's kind of hard to answer that question, but both Joe Jackson and Seth Curry were really good players. I just go out and do everything that I need to do to get my team the W. There were 2 top point guards in the country, so I'm sure it prepared me for people like Jordan Taylor and just Aaron Crafts and people like that. So I just go out and try to get my team to win.
Yeah, obviously, that game hurts from last year, but this is a new team. I'd be lying if you said we weren't thinking about it a little bit. Obviously, it seems like that game was just a couple months ago, not 8 months. So we really we had a little bit of extra motivation, but I mean, like I said, this is Maui Classic. We were going to come to play no matter who we were playing.
Michigan will play tomorrow in Game 11 at 2:30 on ESPN against either UCLA or Kansas. Duke will play in the EA Sports Maui Invitational title game tomorrow at 5 o'clock on ESPN against the winner of UCLA and Kansas, which is going on right now. And as I was saying earlier, between Duke and Michigan, there are 4 EA Sports Maui Invitational championships. Duke has won 4 in 2007, 2001, 1997, and 1992, and Michigan has won 2 in 1988 and 1985.